What is good, people? It is Cooper. Welcome to Cooperville Podcast, episode 48, about to get underway. Jesslee, fantastic conversation. We'll get to that. First things first, huge thank you out to Midwest Meals, proud sponsors of the podcast. Midwest Meals taking meal prep out of the equation. Super simple. MidwestMeals.com. Pick out your meals for the week. Get that order in by Friday, and boom. By Monday, your meals are ready to go. Either pick up if you're local, otherwise they ship nationwide. Counting your macros, eating healthy, feeling better about life. And to be honest, less dishes. Huge plus. So, listeners of this podcast, go to MidwestMeals.com. Get those meals in your subscription and use promo code Cooper at checkout and get 10% off of your first order at MidwestMeals.com. Hashtag MidwestFitFam. Of course, you know the podcast is also brought to you by Violent Gentlemen Hockey Club. Find them on social media. Check out all of their cool gear. Head to their website, violentgentlemen.com. Check out their hats, their hoodies, their ladies' gear. If you're team specific, they have specific gear for specific teams, whether it's the Wild or the Preds or the Kings or the Rangers, Blackhawks, whoever. They got you squared away. ViolentGentlemen.com. Promo code at checkout is Cooperville15 and get 15% off your order with Violent Gentlemen. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, Monster Energy and Rain Energy. I don't know if you've tried yet the new thermogenic rains that just came out, but I was a little bit hesitant about the jalapeno strawberry, and then I tried it, and now I can admit to you, because we're close, I'm now addicted. Go find those new rains, the thermogenic Red Dragon and the aforementioned jalapeno strawberry. My guest on episode 48 of the Welcome to Cooperville podcast is extremely talented, extremely driven, has a fantastic story, and I can't wait for you to hear it. By the way, she's also going to be coming to Country Fest 2020 this June, which, of course, yours truly will be the Master of Ceremonies. The lovely, the incredibly talented Jesslee on the podcast. It starts right now.
Welcome to Cooperville. The Welcome to Cooperville podcast. On demand anywhere quality podcasts are available. And some places where cheap podcasts are available.
And the local gas station has some.
Subscribe, get updates, feel better about your life. Welcome to Cooperville.com.
Check.
Welcome to Cooperville.
Make sure you use a coaster.
Maybe the most excited I've ever been to get on one of these podcasts. And this is so cool how it all happened. And it was all, they say to shoot your shot, to take the shot, to ask the questions. And I reached out to Jesslee on Instagram, and I said, hey, I'm hosting Country Fest. It'd be awesome if you and I could jump on a podcast and talk about all the cool stuff you have going on. And she replied, well, let me correct that. Steve replied and said, hey,
he's better than me.
Creepy guy with the podcast. Let me verify the fact that you actually do host Country Fest, and we'll set it up. But we made it happen. There's so much to talk about. Jesslee is on the Welcome to Cooperville podcast, episode number 48. Hello, Queen. Hello, Queen.
Hey. Oh, he said hello, Queen. You're the best. You are attentive, that's for sure.
I wasn't prompted.
What they don't know is we've been talking for 30 minutes before this, and you've already learned all about me.
Well, yeah, all the good stuff's done. Like the rest of this podcast is going to be like, oh, yeah, well, what happened before you were recording?
We saved the sloppy seconds for y'all.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's it. Thank you so much. We'll see you in June. That's a wrap. No, I can't.
Peace.
No. First and foremost, how are you? I know you've had it's been a crazy week for you. It's been about more than just a crazy week, but how are you, and how are things in Nashville?
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, first, thanks for starting with that. So for anybody who might not know, just in case, Nashville was definitely hit by a huge storm, by a tornado to be exact. Saying it right, I'm from Florida, and I've been, oh my God, my dumb ass has been saying hurricane all week. And I'm like, I can't get out of my head. And I'm like, damn it, it's not hurricanes. Because I'm so used to, I've been through so many freaking hurricanes, I can't even tell you. And I just can't get out of my head. But I would take 5 hurricanes at the same time than a tornado. It was an F3. And apparently they don't name tornadoes like they do hurricanes. So every time I go to talk about it, I want to name it something. And I'm like looking for a name, and I'm like, it's Fran. Oh, no, it's an F3. It's F3, okay. And it's not. So I've been wanting to name it. But it was, you know what it was? I'm just going to call it scary as F. That's what it was, scary as F3. because it literally, I would take 5 hurricanes at the same damn time, and never going through that again. It was so frightening. And I honestly was really, really lucky. We have houses and businesses and places that are right next to my home gone, and somehow my home was spared. And I was completely safe. The worst thing that I had to deal with was not having any power and internet and some other like first world problems.
Right.
But I mean, literally, there's places around me that are just gone, and it's the most like disheartening, sad thing. But at the same time, it's also really beautiful because this town is so warm and just so helpful, and everybody who's anybody just like will come out and help and just literally get out, use, their freaking hands and start rebuilding. And it's just crazy how many people have just come out to help and recover this town. And I think the last time that something this devastating came through was the flood, which I was not living here full time at that time. But the town has obviously been stronger than ever after something so devastating before. And I know it's going to come back again, but so it's a weird feeling. It's weird because it's like you feel the beauty of people coming together, but then like obviously you're seeing all this destruction and everything around, and it's just really disheartening to see people living in this type of situation, this type of sad, unfortunate situation. But
yeah, our podcast was originally scheduled for that day, for Tuesday, and I get up really early, stupid early, and I try not to do this because I think I read somewhere there was an audiobook or something that says you're not supposed to jump right on to social media right away when you wake up, because it can throw off your entire day.
Oh my God, that is so true.
Because
I love it. I love that you say that. That's a true thing.
But there was just I'm not even sure why I did it, but I jumped on and I follow obviously a lot of the talent on Nashville, and that was blowing up my Instagram news feed. So I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of following the story that was going on. Reached out to you, reached out to Steve, and I was like, hey, is everybody okay? Is everything? And I had a couple other friends down there, George Dukas, my buddy, longtime friend, singer-songwriter from down there. And that was like, it's weird for me because I don't live in Nashville. I have some ties to Nashville, but there is something about, and I imagine, and I think other people around the country feel the same way about that particular area, that your mind, your body can be somewhere else physically, but somehow your heart ends up in Nashville. And whether that's through the music connection down there, and every genre too, because Nashville is not just solely country anymore. It's really kind of expanded to this all genre of kind of centralized location for musicians to come and for talent to be discovered.
It really has.
The reaction of,
and I love that. I love that saying that you just said, how your heart is always just here, because that's how I was before I even moved here. It was like I always felt like I was living in Florida, and and I was coming down as often as I could, but my heart was always here. So anything that happened out here, good or bad, I felt like I was personally a part of it. And I feel like a lot of people kind of get that feeling.
Yeah. And it's amazing to see. I went on and I think the first thing I did after checking on you guys was I ordered I believe in Nashville a couple of T-shirts. They're running a support thing from there. So, trying to do as much as I could from a distance, but to watch the stories and to watch the like Dierks Bentley was out with his like band and crew. I know their drummer, his house was just they're out like making videos and helping out down there. It's really cool to see that it doesn't seem like any city comes together after things like this, because I did witness some of the flood aftermath. But man, that town comes together like it's an amazing thing to see, especially for such a metropolitan area.
Yeah, it's so true. They come together in such an unreal way, and like you see it, you can feel it and see it from an outsider's point of view too. But like being in it is a whole nother thing. It's like you're here and you almost feel like if you have idle hands, like you're a loser. Like
right. Yeah.
you need to be involved because everybody else is, and everybody's got that heart to want to be involved. It's just a lot of good people live out here, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's just the Southern thing, or because it's not really. I mean, like it's a melting pot of people, but everybody's got that old school kind of Southern heart out here for some reason where, you know, like everybody's just willing to help out and be, you know, a huge part of making sure that everybody's okay. And it's a really, really special thing. And I'm really grateful to be out here. And you know, although it was such a scary moment, it was such an eye-opening moment. And it's just sometimes those are the things too that make you realize how incredible your life really is. And it sucks that sometimes you got to get knocked into reality that way. And you know, I for the most part, I'm so thankful for my life. Like I've had it really, really hard from my childhood. And that's a whole nother story, the things I went through as a kid. But you know, sometimes you just go through life and you kind of live a little idle and you get in zombie mode and you're just going through the motions. And then it's like, damn, like I'm so happy with my life and I really am so blessed. And I think there's a lot of people that are coming out of that feeling that way. And also, you know, just realizing how important it is to be a good human and be there for other people in times of need, and how there is still a lot of really amazing people out here in the world in general, you know?
Yeah. And I think it really, not that it couldn't come at a better time, because you never want those kind of tragedies to happen, but sometimes it seems like the world needs to see that there still is good in the world. And it's unfortunate it takes,
oh my gosh, yeah.
It takes something like a tornado or a catastrophic event to make people realize that, oh yeah, that's right. We are all on this rock flying through space together. And we're going to be here until, you know, the end of time or an asteroid or whatever. But it's, you know, it's good to see that. I think that brings out the heart in a lot of people when they get a chance to see how a town and a city like Nashville and the surrounding area can come together. But you,
oh my gosh, yes.
You are safe and are doing awesome.
And thank you for asking. I felt so special that you checked in and thought as me of one of your, you know, of me as one of your people out here when things happened. And it was so endearing and just so nice. And like, I'll tell you what, I don't think I've gotten that many texts since like my birthday last year. And it was just like, I was like, well, damn, like people are worried about me. I feel so special. Like, but no, but and really though, truthfully, I was like, I just felt really thankful that a lot of people cared so much. And it was just crazy, like people in town checking on each other, just caring, but also so many people that, you know, were from home. It was like, if someone didn't have my personal number, it was, my inboxes were crazy. And I was trying to personally reach back to people. And like I said, the first couple of days, I didn't even have service. So I was like, well, I'm just going to have to probably make a post to where I can just like tell everybody in one shot that I'm fine and I'm alive and I'm okay. Cause I was trying to answer back people and that there was a couple times where it just wasn't working. And I'm like, I'm going to have to just do this all at once. So,
well, yeah, you and I, we're besties now. So I will check out.
Yeah.
I'm just going to arbitrarily check on you like, hey, it's Thursday. Are you okay? I'm just going to do that.
I love it.
I love it.
I'll do the same because that's what good friends do. It's a two-way street when you're in a friendship.
100%. So I want to talk about the path that you've been on, the crazy, wild ride that has been Jesslee and to where we are today. But I want to go back because there's musical influences that you directly had in your life with your grandparents, and I want to talk about them. And
wow, look at you doing your research. Okay.
Do you, girl? Does this face look like it hasn't done its research? I've done it all.
Well, I'll get people sometimes that are like, so what made you start singing? Did you just like randomly start singing one day? And I'm just like, no, I actually like have a very musical family. And it wasn't some like random thing where I just picked up my hairbrush and started singing in it as a kid and then was like, I'm going to be a singer. Like this is going to be my future.
I'm a singer now.
Yeah. No, it's definitely in my blood. So it's actually really like, I love when people come prepared and they actually really interested in like hearing about like, and they know like, I just think that's really special that you took the time to go look that up. And that's not something that is also like super easy research either. Right. So you did good.
You
did a great job.
Do you know how far down the YouTube rabbit hole I fell? Like,
oh shit. Okay.
Like,
yeah, that can definitely, you probably found a lot more than just facts about me.
Like, I know, I literally think I know everything now. I'm if you ever need someone to co-author your autobiography, Like, I'm your dude.
Right?
Like, I got this shit. I'd say, yep. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. People were line dancing.
Co-author and official throne holder. Now we know.
Red carpet roller. Yeah, I got. My business card is going to be huge. It's going to be like a phone book.
Damn.
It's going to be like,
yeah, I am
Cooper.
Literally, get ready for me. Like, I'm going to help with this resume. You are going to have some of the most weird jobs. People are like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But you know what? You'll be ready for anything. That's for sure.
Constantly. I'm always ready. But there was music surrounding you at all points. And I think the cool storyline here, and I want you to lead the path, is because it didn't, even though you had those influences, direct influences in your life, the path wasn't like from those influences, okay, boom, straight ahead, I'm going to go into music. There was like the fork in the road, and you took one path, and then the fork got bent, some sort of Jedi mind trick happened, and then you went back around and got into music. So, but I want to talk about the grandparent, and their influence on you musically growing up, and kind of how they molded you from a young age on.
Absolutely. And I'm Italian, so I can get on a rampage. So please feel free to stop me. So I do. I'm Italian. I will talk for hours. So I will talk to a damn wall and carry a great conversation.
Well,
so
put a microphone on that wall, record that stuff, put it on YouTube, and give me something to do on a Friday night.
Some shit y'all don't want to get into.
I have no. Sure. So, I have a 9-year-old. He's like, do you want to play Minecraft? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I'll just watch YouTube and you play Minecraft. I love that. Yeah, that's my life. That's my fun.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
So my grandparents were definitely like one of the largest reasons why music was so important in my life. And I think that's something natural. Like you just have that in your blood too. And I've just always loved music, like in an abnormal way. I've turned to music literally as my medicine through so many things that I've had to deal with in life. Just touching on it shortly, I had an abusive father when I was young, and music was my safe place. It was literally like one of the only things that I could rely on, being comforting and being just reliable, to where I could turn to it and know that I was going to get and find something I needed, whatever comfort it was at the time. Like I could find it in a song, whether it was me writing it myself or just going and, turning to some of my idols and what they've put out. And, I think a lot of that does have to do with my grandparents being musicians. And the short version of their story is they were both touring musicians. My grandmother's actually from England. And I have great grandparents who were also in music. I had like a professional violinist as my great grandfather, and he also was in England. And down the road, it goes even further. But for people I know personally, it was the biggest influence were definitely my grandparents, and they toured for a while separately. And then how they actually met was they both were on a tour to Canada, and they ended up getting on the same lineup together. And I think how my grandfather described it was that they were both coming in for a rehearsal for the night before. And my grandmother was actually in a sister act at the time. And while my grandfather and the person that he was accompanying were waiting to go on, they were actually just watching my grandparents or my grandmother do her dress rehearsal with her sister act. And she was, just kind of doing her thing. And apparently the way that he describes it was he turned to his partner and he was like, I want to take out these girls. I want to take out that blonde girl. Well, the funny thing is my grandmother was brunette. Oh. So he actually was originally interested in my grandmother's partner. Nice. Yeah, he'll actually tell the story this way. And apparently after the rehearsal, they all went out to dinner afterwards. And my grandmother, being from England, the way that he words it is he was like, oh, she said she had to go powder her nose. So they went to the bathroom, the two girls together, and my grandfather turned to his partner and was like, I changed my mind. I want the brunette. And apparently the blonde wasn't too intelligent. And my grandfather's extremely intelligent, so he probably got bored of her real quick. So
gotcha. That's smooth. That's a smooth move right there. Nope. That one. No,
Yeah,
not
he's
that
like,
one.
I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I changed my mind. Apparently, his partner was very impartial. So
He's like, whatever. Do whatever.
guess
I'll take that
he
one.
gave no cares. But yeah. So and that's how it was. And he asked her on a date later on, and they ended up kind of being inseparable. And then once their contracts were done with their separate things, they ended up starting their own group together, and then they together were touring the country all over. So it's really cool to go back and see photos of them performing with like the Ink Spots and
Nice.
just famous people, famous presidents, like people that they performed with. It's been really cool. And you go back, and I always think of that. I forgot who the singer was, but that song In Color, where you go back and he do you know that country song where it's in color and he's actually talking to, I think it's like
color. Yeah.
That's how yeah. Well, I was listening to that the other day, and I'm like, every time I hear this song, I always like think about the time that my grandfather popped open his photo album book and was literally just showing me all these black and white photos of things, of them traveling the world and playing shows. And then I'm just like, oh man, I wish I did see that in color, because that's some cool shit. So
Jamie Johnson.
Yeah,
Jamie Johnson. Jamie Johnson.
Go.
In color.
You go. Yeah, I love that song. But that's what it always brings me to is I'm like, damn, like I wish I was there. I wish I could have seen that in color. And it's cool because like I can kind of go back and look at some of those things. And then, my grandparents thank God they're still here. And so anytime they can, they're always here to come and support me at events. And I think they're like follow your heart kind of people.
Yeah.
So I think they're so elated that I eventually led my life to music because kind of what you said, some Jedi shit happened and mind tricks and stuff. And
the Force was with you.
I ended up falling off course with that. And out of just lack of confidence. And this is like the Cliff Notes version, but out of like confidence issues and weight problems and problems with, like the abuse that I had from my father, just like weighing on me and subconscious things that I never got rid of. I never allowed myself to do music the way that I wanted to and to pursue it all the way. I was always kind of just the girl that I'd get my little fix of music by going to a karaoke bar every once in a while and just singing a little karaoke. And, it made me happy. And then eventually, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I had a corporate job and I was just kind of, doing the 9-to-5 thing. And I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like I can't, it's just not fulfilling. And there's a good chance to have a good future in it, but there's just what I'm doing. I feel like I have no purpose. Like I'm not living my life's purpose, and eventually one day I just had a kick in the pants to go and finally do it. And, I'm a really big believer that like when you are living your purpose and you're on track and you're really positive about your life, good things come to you. And, it was pretty short after releasing music and releasing some independent music videos and stuff. The Voice had come to me about, being on the show and kind of just spiraled into what it is now. And it's so weird because the story, like I said, I could go on. Like I'm kind of telling the Cliff Notes version of like everything that happened and how.
I'm like, hold a minute. I have more questions about this. Because
where should I stop?
I did want to touch on one thing that you said about finding your purpose, because I think that there is, if you walk out, and I started doing this a couple of years ago because I was in radio for 2 decades, basically since I was a teenager until I'm old now. And there was, see what I did there?
You are not old. Oh my God, you're ridiculous.
Made it. I just swapped it around. I didn't even say a number, but I got to, and I mean, that was what I thought I was meant to do. Is I got to be, and we talked about this again in our fantastic half hour of conversation before we recorded, is that I got to be the pointer, and I was very comfortable with that. And then becoming a program director and having some influence on the station and creating new stations and things like that. But like eventually, even that, which I thought was like, this is my gig, this is what I do, and I can't do anything else. For some reason, like one year, I started like when I go into a store, go into Walmart, I would really start to like look at people and say, I wonder if they're like just miserable. Like if they're waking up every day and going to a job that they hate, and coming home after 8 hours and going and that kind of burden on your shoulders, and you end up walking into a home with a family, with a wife, with a kid, and going, here's all of my reasons I'm angry, and I'm going to take them out on you because I am not living my purpose. I'm not doing what I wanted to do. So when I got out of radio, I was like, man, I can do anything, and then I can do whatever it is that I want to do that's going to make me happy and what's going to not only fulfill me but help me be a better dad. And that's life altering stuff when you're like, yeah, hi life, I'm going to grab you by the good stuff and I'm just going to do exactly what it is that I want to do. And I think the world needs more people to be able to find I mean, at the end of the day, if it's not being a singer, if it's not, being a pointer, if you find something that you're like, okay, I'm happy now, you found it, like you got it, like ding ding,
oh my gosh,
you've won life.
It's so true. It's funny, and like I kind of in some ways, obviously thank like my upbringing. Like I have such a supportive mom, and I had grandparents that were like itching at me to just start doing music. Like
right.
My grandfather would be like, I would just hate. He'd give me little digs. He's Italian. He'd be like, I would just hate to see your talent be wasted, like, and
Thanks, Grandpa.
Digs, and I know, but besides little things like that, I actually have to thank, and I know it sounds weird, but I have to thank Instagram. What really finally pushed me over the edge one day was, I remember reading a post that was just like, it had something to do with like, just like take a moment, and if you don't know what your purpose is, the first step to finding that is what's your passions, because I think your passions and your purpose is linked. I think that your passions and your talents and all of that is linked together, because you were given those things for a reason to make a difference, and your purpose is going to do something greater, and not only for yourself but greater for the world. Right. Even if it's a small impact, you'd be surprised that what the talents that you were given, how you're supposed to use them to be able to help even just one person, and that's kind of how it led to. It was like, I was like, well, you know what, like I'm going to start first just doing more things that I enjoy. And I've always been an active person, number one, then obviously music. And I really just started making more time for that. And then I just realized, I was like, I can't live without this stuff. Like, right. I'm realizing that if I'm not doing this stuff, like I'm really, really unhappy. And there was a period of time where I was just, like I said, working and kind of just the whole grind of like going to work, going home, living for the weekend and going out kind of thing. And I was just finding that I was really just super unhappy, and it wasn't until I really started digging into myself and figuring out who I was and what I love most, and not caring about, living for anybody else. I think it's important, obviously, to care about other people, but there's always that healthy balance of like, are you living for you, or are you really just kind of like living for everybody else and just living in the motions, And it's just, I finally started doing a little bit more and taking slow steps. Like, it's funny because when I give the Cliff Notes versions, it literally seems like it was like, I decided to be a singer, here I am.
Ta-da! Where's the carpet?
That's not the case. Like, I decided to be a singer. Hello, voice. Hello, HMMA awards and all these things that started happening. Like, no, that's not how it was. Like, it took time. It literally took me dipping my toes, in the water, and really being acclimated into building new habits and building a new lifestyle for myself. And then slowly but surely that momentum caught up and things kind of sped up, and more things were coming my way and more opportunities were coming my way. And, so I never want to give the false impression that it was like, I was like, I'm going to be a singer. Boom.
Yeah. No, I'm a singer.
That's not how
it happens.
That's not how it was.
No. How did the fitness thing, how did that interject itself in your life? I talked moments ago about the fork in the road, and there was some time where you before the Jedi stuff, that fitness, the extreme fitness, like competing fitness, was a part of your life. How did that become a thing that you like gravitated towards?
Absolutely. Like, that's a great question, because I think a lot of people like wonder, like, where did that fit? Because they'll if you Google me, you'll go and find like photos of like when I competed and stuff.
Right.
Like I'm in this like bikini with an 8-pack of abs and people are like, whoa, when did that happen? Hold on. So like, and I still just for the record, so people know, like I still really am. I'm super into fitness still for different reasons.
Right.
I'm all about making sure that I feel happy and positive and comfortable in my own skin. You know, at one point I was 8% body fat, ripped to the bone. Like I've seen my body overweight, and I've seen my body, you know, 8% body fat ripped to shreds, and I've seen my body now like in between, really happy. You know, and I think there's a season for everything. And right now with me doing music, my main focus with fitness is just being comfortable and happy, and more importantly, healthy. So I can do the kicks and the crazy jumps and shit that I do on stage and be the fun performer I am, and still be able to sing at the same time and hit all the crazy notes I want to hit and not be affected, you know? But back when I started fitness, you know, there was a large period of my life where it wasn't important to me at all. I'm kind of around the time when I was doing the whole corporate job thing and living that 9-to-5 life. There was a period of time where I became like really just unhealthy. I just wasn't caring for myself. And again, I wasn't really answering to things and living my purpose to things where like I was following my passions. One thing that I always had been was a really sporty girl naturally. You know, I did USTA semi-pro tennis, you know, and I, as a young girl, I actually had played tennis since I was 3 years old. So being a sporty, active female was always something that was, you know, something I was super passionate about, and very important to me. And I kind of let go of a lot of that. You know, I let go of being an athlete, and I let go of performing and singing. And I kind of just was like, okay, well, I need to start taking care of myself. And the biggest change of how the whole fitness thing started was I actually was dating a guy, and he just always kind of made me feel like mediocre. Like I never felt special. And I mean, at the time I was pretty overweight. So not that that's an excuse. Like if you're dating someone, you should be with someone that makes you feel great, you know, like for what you are. But you know, I just kind of never felt that way. And then some things happened. I try not to talk negatively about anybody, but he just ended up doing some things that were not good, and we decided we were going to go ahead and break it off. And he left me with a statement that like just changed my life. Like he was like, you're a fat ass, and you're never going to find anybody better than me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, F you. And something, I don't know what it was. I've had mean things said to me before. Like everybody's had something mean said to them. I don't know what the hell it was. That statement made me so livid. Like it just lit a fire in me that was so strong that I was like, screw you. And that same day I went and I joined a gym, and I just Googled, like I literally Googled everything that I could. I went to bodybuilding.com. I had myself like, you know, I just basically found myself, because I knew nothing at the time. I found myself
Google
like
it.
knew nothing. I was like a newbie. So I was like, damn it, I'm going to go ahead and just, you know, everything saying lift weights and do some cardio. And I'm just going to follow this little bodybuilding.com eating plan. And I just basically tried to find any sort of outlet I could and any sort of help that I could. And I actually just went to the gym every single day, no days off, which is also not healthy. I knew nothing.
Pause on that. Don't watch my Instagram stories then, because that's my hashtag is I'll tell you later. It's But yes, people who have sanity take rest days. Crazy MFers like me. Insanity. I don't take rest days.
It's not even just
I don't.
Oh God.
I don't take rest days.
Well, oh my God. Well, you're a beast. You're a freaking beast.
No,
I need a rest day.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I a little bit crazy.
Yeah, you are a beast. That's you beast mode, Cooper. So, but yeah, so I literally was just like doing whatever I could. So went at it hard. And I think like within like the first 6 months or something of me doing it on my own, I lost like 30 pounds or 40 pounds or something. And I was just like so amped about it. And then it's so weird. Like, again, like when you're doing stuff that makes you feel good and you're living your purpose, like just you'll manifest good things in your way. And I was literally I remember seeing like photos of people competing in my town and doing all these things. And I was just like, I want to maybe do that someday. And then all of a sudden, like, popped right in front of me, this random guy walks up to me and he's like, are you training for something? And I'm just like, no, well, for life. Like, I'm just training for life.
Training for life. That's another one of my hashtags, training for life.
Yeah, just training for life. That's it. That's all I really know at this point. So I don't even know if I'm doing a good job, but I'm trying. So, and he's just like, well, I would love to train you. And he actually was a trainer. And he's just like, you work so hard. And he's like, and you know, I just really feel like, you know, we could take your body to a whole nother level. And he kind of introduced competing to me. And that's how it happened. And he trained me for free. And then he got me with an even better trainer, hooked me up with her. And I just started competing because I loved it so much. And at the time, like, that was a relief for me. And honestly, you know, I truthfully think one of the biggest reasons I didn't perform and didn't take, you know, doing music seriously because I wasn't 100% comfortable in my own skin yet. And it took me doing that. And I'll tell you what, you will never have stage fright ever again if you can go and do a figure competition. I literally in a thong bikini.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The only thing that's covered is literally like my nipples. Yeah. Like,
that's all you get.
There's so little. The bikinis are so little. And I went through, you know, posing training, and I just went through like hardcore boot camp training for figure competing. I was with one of the best coaches at the time. And I just remember being like, well, if I can do this, then I can do anything. And I ended up my very first competition taking the whole show. I won my novice class. I won the overall class, or one novice, won my height class, and then I won overall. So I took the whole show. And all I wanted to do, I swear to you, Coop, all I wanted to do was get comfortable enough just to be able to step on stage and be proud of my body. Wow. And it was just I was just bawling my eyes out. I couldn't believe it that I went above and beyond my own expectations. And it just really, truthfully, like, it was like every fear, every stage fright, every piece of criticism I've ever had on myself, it was like, it just all went away. Yeah. And it just kind of allowed me to just go further with more that I wanted to do with myself. Did
you get your pro card? Don't they give you your pro card if you like win?
Oh, no. So I was doing a national qualifier.
Okay, qualifier.
So
okay, gotcha.
If you, So if you have to actually do a pro-am, like a pro show, which is nationals. And I actually never went all the way up to nationals because by my third show, I ended up doing 3 shows total. By my third show, when I did get my national qualification to go compete for my pro card, I honestly was starting to do so much with music at that point that I was like, I love music. Like, fitness is a hobby. I love it. And I think like it was such a huge, just confidence builder for me, and really led me in the right direction with having a more just beautiful mindset about who I am and how I feel about myself and my confidence levels. And I needed that stage of my life. I needed that season. And when you go back and you look in hindsight, it's 2020, you really do realize every season of your life is so important. Yeah. And I really did need that. But, you know, I have no urges to ever compete or get my pro card again, to be very honest with you. Like,
well, like you got other stuff. There's other things happening. You got things happening now. It's a lot of other,
exactly.
A lot of big picture stuff. But no, I mean, that was one of the reasons that I had that question, because I originally wanted to ask about nerves, and if there was some nerves. I mean, when you talk about getting on stage in front of people, or and we'll get into talking about your being on The Voice, which, having talked to other Voice contestants that have been on that show, they talk about the difference between being an artist who, you know, you don't typically perform in front of, you know, that big of an audience in the sound stage, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, there's millions of people watching around the world. You know, that can get into your head a little bit. But the reason I wanted to ask it is because, and I didn't Google it, I didn't Google you and find any pictures, so just I want to let you know that, get that out of the way. But having known people that have competed in those competitions, male and female, first off, for as small as those bikinis are, they're like stupidly expensive. Like I'm like, there's nothing, like there's nothing here. Like, how does this cost thousands of dollars? I don't understand.
Seriously, that was the first thing I said. So like when I got my first bikini, I had a different one for every show, and I would find sponsors and stuff. Thank God.
Yeah.
But literally, when I found out what the price was, I was like, holy shit, because this bikini is so little. And I will say, like, they do glue like all those Swarovski crystals and stuff on it, but I was just not expecting it to, I think, to be as expensive as it was. But my every single one of my bikinis were, my first one was $700. $700. My second one, because it was a bigger show, I think I went up to $8. And then when I knew I was going to do my last show, it was like an $1,000 bikini.
Yep. I feel like I'm in the wrong business. Like if I was in it for the money, I'd be like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take little tiny pieces of fabric and glue shit to them. That's going to be my job.
Coop, you need to get that. Now, another thing to add to your resume.
Oh, great.
Get that bedazzling game. That bedazzling game. Get that shit going.
I'm going to make that. I'm going to make jeans, and I'm going to make bikinis. Jeans for guys.
Exactly.
Bedazzled jeans for dudes, and bikinis for competitive women. No.
I'd wear one. Actually, Steve's right next to me, and he said he'd wear them.
I knew it. I knew I could convince both of you. Finally, my career is about to take off in that field.
You have so many things going for you right now. Like we have within an hour found all these new things about you, all these new interests. And I'll tell you what, like you have so many options. Like I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah. Talents I didn't even know that I had, but I'll Google them. I'll just Google it and figure out how to do it, and then we'll make it a thing. But
you can do that with anything these days.
Really,
so
you
that's
can.
accurate as all hell.
How do you become a disc jockey? I know. Google it. But there's
it's limitless. The options are limitless.
Really, it's sometimes not a good way. Like you shouldn't. Don't.
I agree.
No, stay out of the rabbit hole down there, people. But I digress. I think the cool thing about being able to have you find that confidence, and we talked about being on that kind of stage, in that little of, there is no nerves that I think can overcome that. Once you have that, you're like, well, I'm good now. I can wear whatever in front of as many thousands of people as I can because I've done this already. But it's
so true, especially when you've done it like literally almost naked.
Yeah. Like, you don't have that dream anymore.
It was like the second when I stepped, I used to get nervous doing karaoke. I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm gonna do karaoke. I'm so scared,
and
then like I don't know, I was like a different person after I stepped on a stage in a bikini that little. I was like working it.
Yeah.
People were cheering for me. They were loving it. Like I was doing shit that like I didn't even rehearse with my coach. She was actually super pissed at me at the end.
That's not the routine. That ain't it.
I get off the stage and she was like, what the hell was that? And she was like, you're lucky you didn't mess it all up. And I'm like, I was feeling it. Leave me alone.
I was in the zone. Coach, give me a break.
I was in the zone. I was at my own flair. Leave me alone.
So clearly the nerves are gone. There's no more butterflies in that stage presence scenario. I want to get into.
It's almost kind of weird. Like I don't know what happened, but it all went away, and then I kind of have developed this attitude with everything in life. And I don't get nerves. Like you can kind of ask people, like it's really rare for me to get nervous for anything. I'm a super like level human being all the time. Very, very happy. Like I'm an abnormally jovial human being, but I'm very, very level. Like I just don't get super, super antsy. I don't get like a lot of anxiety for the most part. Everybody has moments, we're human, but I've really developed this mindset that, what's meant for me will be mine. And like, if you just kind of go into anything with that mindset, like you learn how to just soak it up and have fun in the moment instead of like freaking out about little things. And, that was something that was so important to me on The Voice. And I've actually, told this in interviews before where people are like, well, were you nervous before you're about to go on stage and you were singing in front of celebrity coaches and this and that? And I was like, I know this sounds really crazy, but I wasn't. Like, I was more focused on making sure that I had fun because I didn't want those moments like that are so freaking quick. Like they go so fast. You literally feel like the way that it feels when I remember that, even right after the performance on The Voice, like between me performing and apparently I was talking to the coaches for like 30 minutes, like after, which they never show you that much, but you have a long time of talking with them.
They edit it down for you?
Yeah, they edited it all up and everything. And, you have, surprisingly though, a lot of people get a good amount of time afterwards and you're just chatting. And if they love you, they'll just chat it up. They want to know more about you. And I apparently was chatting with them for 25 minutes, but I swear to you, it literally felt like I blinked my eyes between singing and chatting and then going backstage. It was just done in a flash. And I told myself, I remember just saying it like right before I stepped on stage, I was like, I want to remember this. Like I know I'm going to have a lot of cool moments in my life. I'm going to do a lot more things cooler than this moment here. Like, I really believe that, but I'm like, I really want to remember this. Like, I don't want to, I just want to remember the details, and I don't want to be focused on freaking out and doing everything so perfect that I'm not focusing on the fun that I'm having and all the cool details of like, and it's crazy because like, it was so quick, but I can literally remember like looking at people and looking at audience members in their eyes and like the people's faces to me and just being so into it and like what the stage felt like. And like, I made a point to like really breathe in and like feel everything. And it was just super cold. And like, I just really remember that moment. And like, there's been so many times I haven't done that I like didn't remember those finite details. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, it was kind of like this, but like, I don't really remember it that well. But I was like, I'm not doing that this time. I want to remember it. And I kind of take a moment to now do that with everything that I do.
Is it true that before your performance in the blinds that you on your phone had a picture of Blake Shelton in his chair setting that when they turn it around, it says, I want you. And that was on your phone before the blinds even happened. Is that true?
Yes. How did you find that?
I do my research, girl. I don't mess around.
Yo, that's so funny because I was just talking about this the other day. I'm a huge like believer in manifesting and law of attraction. And like, if you're positive, you'll attract the things that you want in your life and probably even better things. And yes, that is so true. And a lot of people actually don't know that, but
they do now.
Put a picture. Yeah, they do now. I put a picture of Blake Shelton because and it's funny because I was really worried about just him turning. And I had just him on my phone. It was a photo of him standing up and it said, I want you, like with the way it lights up on the chair and had his like row lit up. And every single night before the show for, I think it was like 2 or 3 months before I knew I was going to go to my blind audition. And even while I was out in LA beforehand, I was literally just visualizing that. I'm like, Blake's gonna turn for me. Blake's gonna turn for me. I know it. I can see it. I can feel it. And I would literally just visualize that moment and him talking to me and selecting me and singing my song perfectly. I'd run through every single note, like the way that like a lot of basketball players and sports people talk about how they visualize like what they're going to do on the court. Like I was doing that for this performance. And it's funny because the real behind the scenes was initially I was supposed to be singing my church. I was supposed to be singing a completely different song. But when I would visualize every single night, for some reason, my visualizations were me singing I'm With You by Avril Lavigne. Yeah. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, this is the song I'm singing. And then I ended up going onto the show. And when they switched my song on me. And it ended up being that song, which is crazy. I actually literally freaked out. Like I was like, holy shit, I'm so freaking powerful.
I own the universe.
I had a moment. I really did. I had a moment, but
that's fabulous.
But I'm like, I'm the creator of my reality. Like I freaked out. But yeah, it was all true. And when that whole thing happened, it like pretty much for the most part went play by play as my visualizations, except my little self didn't think about like, oh, well, what happens if someone else besides Blake Shelton turns? And to my surprise, which they always say, be prepared for the universe to give you more. If you're a positive person, like you'll probably get better than you want, Right. And I did. And Kelly turned too. And I remember being like, oh my God, I didn't even think about like if someone else turned. So I went through this moment when they were talking to me and I was actually contemplating changing my mind and
wow.
choosing Kelly. But I went with my gut. I went with what I had been visualizing, and I'm still proud of that decision. So,
well, it worked out. You got, you put it on your phone, things happen, and I think that's that mentality, and I do believe in that law of attraction. I do think what you also combine with it, and that's very evident, is there's thinking it, and then there's thinking it and putting the work in. And I think that's the key element that I think that you are hugely successful with, is that you put out in front of you, or if you go into my bathroom, not that you're here, but if you did, there's Post-it notes all around my mirror, and different sayings, different things, just things that I read to myself every single day, and I say, okay, one of them is the phrase that we that you shouldn't do, people who are listening, who are sane, is that rest days are for pussies, because it's a Cam Hanes thing, and then I'm wearing the same shirt that says nobody cares, work harder.
I love that. I need one of those.
I'll get you one. But there's
oh my God, yes.
Can we
rock it together and take a photo?
Trust me, you and I at Country Fest are going to somehow coordinate outfits. I mean, obviously, if I'm hoisting you up on top of your fancy chair that I have to bring you on the stage on with now, I need to have at least some matching attire, and maybe it is a Cam Hanes nobody cares, work harder shirt. But
I don't care if I have to change into it. We're taking a photo of that. That's awesome. I need one of those. That's the best.
And I'll bring out my leather pants, and life will just be really, really ironic for that moment in time.
You're spot on. You are spot on.
but there is the work element, and I think that is it's conducive in fitness, and it's conducive in music, and if you are passion driven about your life. You talked about when you worked out, you started working out and you started feeling better, and mindset changed, and performing in fitness competitions, all of a sudden your confidence level increases, and your nerves are basically a non-existent thing now. All of that, all of those moments, being on The Voice and not being nervous about it, and taking that moment and breathing it in, because being present, being in the present is literally the most important thing that there is to be present in the moment. So all of that stuff, combined with the fact that you have a visualization mindset, that you're like, okay, I see what I'm going to do, and now I'm going to do all the steps it takes to get there. I mean, that you're kind of like a lethal weapon at this juncture of your life. For real.
That's the best compliment ever.
Hashtag lethal weapon. And no, not the Mel Gibson movie.
I kind of want to make I kind of want a t-shirt of that, because I love that.
Man, my to-do list keeps getting longer. Okay, Cam, I got to get the Nobody Cares Work Harder shirt and the Jesslee Lethal Weapon shirt. Okay. All of these things are happening.
I feel like I need an album that's named, or a tour that's named Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon
love
tour.
That.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Again, just put it in the phone book. That is my resume now. That is adding ideas in there. But that mindset, I think, and I want to talk about that voice experience, because you take that and the knowledge that you gain from that. Now, obviously, that's not how everybody in music makes it. It's a different element, it's a different animal, but you do learn a lot in a very short period of time about the lights and the glam and the success and the heartbreak that goes into any musical career. But coming out of that, moving to Nashville, continuing on with fitness, owning your social media, being hugely interactive with your fans, the Jess Legion, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. Shout out to the Jess Legion.
You're the freaking best. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. I'm naming this right now. You are probably the most prepared, best interviewer I've ever worked with. You're the real deal, Coop. For real.
It feels like I paid you to say that. It feels like I slipped you. I got you a t-shirt or something.
This is not an ad. This is I need a little thing that says "not an actor" at the bottom.
Not an actor. Not a paid actor. But there's
not a paid actor.
Not a paid pointer. I'm the pointer. Remember, I'm not an actor. I'm a pointer.
Right.
But when you have all of these elements going on, obviously, the fitness portion of it is not like you're driving towards that. It's just now a part of who you are. The music is a part of who you are, the songwriting aspects of it, the performance aspect of it, all of these things, the social media aspect of it. Let's throw a tornado into that mix as well. Right. All of these things are happening. There's a million things going on in your life right now. How do you find balance? Because one of the things that can happen is you start to lean one way and one thing kind of lags down a little bit. But to find the balance, where are you finding that you're able to keep all of these kind of balls juggled in the air all at once? And seemingly, through the course of this conversation, you got your shit figured out. You kind of got life by the good stuff. I mean, how do you do it? What's the secret? Is it all mindset? Is it just like knowing what you want and going for it? What's the method to the magic?
I think the biggest thing, especially too, when now your passions become, like you said, like your everyday life. Mm-hmm. Like now I'm not just doing music just for the fun of it anymore. It's become my life and become my career. And sometimes that can be a great thing for people. And then sometimes when you overly consume yourself with the stuff you love, and it becomes not only just your pleasurable stuff, but your like your bread, like it's what's putting the bacon on the table as well. Like sometimes that can also tie discord into that situation. So for me, I seriously, and I know this sounds so plain and simple, but I think the biggest thing that makes me just really find that balance is, first off, taking a moment to really reflect and like actually appreciate where you came from, and not necessarily to go back and look to pick yourself apart for any reason, but to go back in time and just really appreciate like the growth, finding you time to meditate to yourself and have quiet time, but also to meditate on where you've come from and looking back at all the seasons of your life and really just like taking a moment to appreciate like what you've gone through to get, like, one of my favorite sayings is when you've prayed for the things you have now. And like at one time you prayed for the things that you have now, and like in those moments where I'm like, I don't have enough, or I'm not good enough, or I want to be here, I want to be there, like I really try to just sit down and think like, well, at one time, like I was wishing to be right here, and the balance is just trying to remember that we have such a long life to live, and we're on this journey, and we just have to be able to be present, like you were saying, like taking a moment to just really appreciate what you have and how hard you've worked to get there, and that you also have so much more time. Like you have your whole life to just go after it, and it's you're gonna get there. Like if you really believe it and you focus your mind, you're gonna get there. You just gotta be able to enjoy it and not add discord and not add resistance to the equation. And I think honestly meditation has been the biggest thing, like the absolute biggest thing, just taking time to meditate and just really enjoy who I am as a person. And then anything that I also love too, like just going out and trying to find time for things that are just fun. And, I still love music and fitness the way that I did when, before I was doing it full time or all the time or whatever. But a lot of that has been because I've really taken a time to look at things that are other passions and other hobbies and things that I love besides music, and throwing those in the mix here and there to kind of change things up and make sure that I am doing other things that I love now that these things have kind of become part of my everyday lifestyle,
I think you hit on.
But I'd say more than anything, meditation is so freaking important. Like I know a lot of people take it for granted, and I even get caught up in losing track of making sure that I do it every single day. But I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of you time and just literally reflecting on yourself and having a moment of just silence and letting your source, tell you the things that are inspired and the things that you really want.
Two huge important takeaways from that. Quieting the mind is maybe the most powerful tool in the toolbox. The ability to for however long you can sustain it, and it can be very difficult, especially when your bandwidth is almost exceeding, what the Wi-Fi will provide. Because there's so many things going on
Right.
in the outside world, and then you start diving into social media aspects of it, and then it's even crazier. But to be able to find that time, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour a day, to just be in silence, that is, again, one of the most important tools that human beings have that I think is often overlooked. Another key thing.
It is, and it's so simple, and it's free. That's what's mind blowing to me. Is like, it's literally you time. It's been proven over and over again that it's one of the most constructive things you can ever do for yourself, and it's a free tool. And there's so many people not taking advantage of it. It's just so interesting to me.
And the second huge point, and it like got me right in the nobody cares, right in the middle of the chest area there, is time. A lot of times people get caught up in age and where you are in life and what you've done in the past. And if you would have started this journey here, or if you would have known or made this decision back when you were a teenager or when you were in your early 20s, and now that you're at this point, it's too late. In this day and age, like, we're not even, through football references in there, we're not even like a quarter of the way. For you, you're not even a quarter of the way. From me, I'm like not even at halftime yet, because again, I'm older and taller. There's something about a mindset that says, man, if I'm not even at halftime and I've already done the things I've done, experienced the things that I've experienced, the life experiences, the trials, the tribulations, the hard times, the great memories, man, imagine what we can do, because we get to do it again. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's that finding happiness part that we talked about a long time ago now, is that I'm not happy. Oh, wait, tomorrow I can wake up and figure out, like, shit, I have 40, 50, 60, 80 more years to find happiness. And I'm going to go down this path instead of this path where I'm miserable. And voila, universe, hello, providing.
Right.
Ta-da.
Right.
Damn, it's good.
Right.
It's so
sometimes
good.
It literally just starts, and I just it's so cool. Like, I swear, this is right here is proof of law of attraction. Like, like-minded attract each other, and that's the way it is. Like, I've come across so many like-minded people, so many beautiful, positive souls, such as yourself, since, changing my mindset. And that's all it has to start with. Starts with a mindset change first, and then just small actions every day towards the things you want, and you're gonna get there. And it's just mind blowing to me and kind of sad when, like, people will post things that are like, I've already lived the best times of my life, or the best years of your life, looking back in their 20s or whatever it was. And I don't think that way at all. I think, like, oh my God, like, I've been to 15 countries. I'm touring internationally. I'm doing all this stuff. Like, it's only gonna get better,
right.
Yeah. And it's just so weird to me, like, how people are like, oh, I've lived my best times. And I'm like, dude, I have so much to do. Like, I've got so much that I'm going to do. And I just already think, like, if I've already done all that before my mid-20s, like, what else am I going to do when I have literally a whole 3/4 of my life to live, essentially, So it's all a mindset. It really is. It's all a mindset. It's all about, being able to have that focus and, that diligence and, like you said, mixing that focused mindset with actions. And it's not even about going and being like, I've got to change everything about myself tomorrow. It's it all starts with small actions, and the momentum will come, and everything starts to feel easier because you get better, There is and I want to get on to our next big topic, because it's fantastic, and I want to rave about it. So we'll do that in 1 second. But there is like literally like rave, like I'm gonna go Nostradamus on you, and it's gonna be wild. Yes!
But
okay, cool, wild. I love that.
It's gonna be wild. Hang on. But there's man, when you find your happiness, like when you find yourself, and you know who you are, and you know what it is that makes you happy, and you know the path that you want to take. And it is amazing when you let go of giving a shit about what anybody else thinks or says about, in a negative manner, about your journey that you're on, or the decisions that you make or anything, when you stop caring about that, I think I lost probably 20 pounds of just stress because I was, I always concerned about like, well, what if somebody doesn't think I'm the smartest, or what if nobody thinks my pants are too, I don't fucking, when people when they just have, you let that go, that internal dialogue that you think everybody is talking about you, or people post things on social media. John Boy 46497 is like, ugh, you're a stupid podcaster. What do you know about anything? When you start to not care and you start to realize that, man, that person, they took the time to post, to say, to make a comment out of their life, negative towards you, even though you're trying to do something good. Like, man, I feel bad for that guy. John Boy 26467.
That's how I feel too. I think that's so funny you're saying that, because I don't get why people get so booty hurt over things. I actually think it's the most hilarious thing ever. That's exactly how I think of it. It's like, you literally were scouring the internet to find someone to hate on today because you feel so shitty about yourself and your life and your situation. And to me, it's sad, but it's also kind of hilarious because like, I've had, which I will say, like, for the most part, I actually have a lot of love on my page. Like, I usually, it's very rare I get any sort of hate, knock on wood, knock on head, knock on everything. Because like, I've actually like really have my page set really nice, but I don't think enough people like use the beautiful block button. Like, who cares? Like, literally
unfollow.
If it's not going to affect you in like, even 5 months, 5 years, whatever, like, forget it. Like, you're literally like, the funny thing is like, I've used that button before, and man, it feels so good. You're just like, okay, see ya, and you block them, and then you literally will never remember it's like you literally shut them off for your life forever. Yeah. It's great.
The 2 seconds later, they're like, oh yeah, what they're no longer exist. Poof. I took my magic wand, and they are no longer part of my universe. I have made the world a better place. Thank you. That's why I'm here.
And the funny thing is like, those people, it's not a you problem, it's a them problem. It's a perception, and it's a perception on their end problem. And the funny thing is that you just happen to be, what most people don't realize is you just happen to be in their path. Right. Like, you were someone that they came across, they could pick on today. And the funny thing is the second you block them, they're just going to go do it to someone else because they have nothing better to do, And, but I agree. Like, I believe in stress weight and all that crazy stuff. And one thing that's for certain too is when I stopped worrying about all that stuff and stopped hating on myself so much and stopped caring so much, the world literally, I literally remember the feeling of like stepping outside one day and just being like, oh my God, like the world just looks prettier. Yeah. Like I see clearer. Like when I was going through some of my hard times and before I just really took time to care about myself and it was all around the time, again, like before I just started investing in my passions and I was working at a job I wasn't really happy doing. I remember just feeling like everything always looked hazy. Everything always felt like it was heavy. Life felt heavy. The world seemed dimmer. And like, I just, it's crazy. Like one day you literally will just like, you'll know you're living your purpose and you're living in light and you'll feel enlightened because everything will look that way. You'll feel it. You'll see it. You'll smell it. Food will taste better. Yeah. Like, I swear, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Food will taste better. Smells will smell better. You'll see brighter colors. That's a real life. It's a real life, man.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. It's you find that day, that moment that it happens, and you're like, wow. Like you feel like I want to say reborn, but you have a whole new outlook and appreciation for everything that's around you. And I think you stated it beautifully with how everything's just better. And it's
it's true.
I love it.
It's true.
Speaking of amazing things, speaking of things that are about to blow the roof off some shit, I was lucky enough. I was blessed. The power of the universe worked in my favor. Steve shared your new single, which is not out yet, with me.
I know. You're part of the exclusive club, Coop.
He slightly yelled at me in caps. He said, "Don't play this for anybody else." I'm like, I know. But Do It Like is the new single from Jesslee, and I got a chance to hear it. And you're like doing like little teases online, and I'm like, ooh. And then Steve's like, hey, dude, like, take a listen. I'm like, oh, this. Now, again, the Nostradamus in me has this to say after listening to the single. Shit's about.
Do we need to put not an ad or not an actor underneath?
Not an
right now?
ad. not paid for
this is
by.
Not a paid actor.
No.
Okay.
Not paid for by. Nobody. No. This is from the heart. And from the ears and from the mind and from every place that songs go. This like Things for You. And we just talked about how crazy they are. You got a million things going on. It's boom, 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 boom. Things are about to go, not even next level. Like if there's a level above next level, like that's where shit's going. Like this song is going to hit on March 27th. By the way,
yes.
This may be an ad kind of. JessleeMusic.com/doitlike to pre-order. Slid that in there.
Woo!
Smoothly. But no, hearing that song and just understanding the phonetic way that radio works and the phonetic, just how magic things happen is that one song. That one song becomes the launching pad for an artist in their career. Now, I told you, down the rabbit hole of the Jesslee YouTube universe, I've spent many a night, many a day, many a morning in Amazon Music, just jamming out to Burn and to Don't Want a Toy Friend, You Want a Boyfriend. Get over him and get over him. Like I'm
now.
just jamming. And I love them all, and I think they all are at their core. You, by the way, you're very jaded in love, but let's get that'll be for the next podcast. We'll save that for next time. But
yes, please. We have. There's still a hell of a lot more. So
man.
We should cut this segment in two so we can have a whole nother round of this.
Oh, we're again, you're Italian and I talk for a living. So I mean, we could have our own podcast and we just talk about random things.
So true.
And we'll get T-shirts made that say Lethal Weapons on it or something crazy like that.
Yes.
But this is going to be, and again, this is Nostradamus in me. This is your song. Like this will be the springboard into stardom. I mean, you're already a star. You're already.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much.
But every artist needs that one song because a lot of them had the song before, and they had the song before. It feels like this is your one. Like this is going to be like okay, world, watch out because Jesslee is about to come and throttle you. Like this is that song.
I literally I mean this. I have no words. Like it means so much to me because the amount of effort that was put into the song to make it so perfect. Like the best way that I can explain it is it's been way too long since I released freaking music. Like if you go back and you look at the time that it's been since I released Over Him, to me, I was fretting. I was freaking out. I was like, this is taking too long. This is taking too long.
Yeah. And
looking back in a way, I'm kind of glad we took our time with it because this was not an easy song to make exactly what we wanted to make it because it is very cross genre and it's everything I wanted in the song, but it was because we took our time on it and we really, really delved into exactly what we wanted it to do and be and sound like and feel like. And it means so much to me because so much extra time was taken on this song because when I wrote it, initially, how it started was I had a hook in my head that was I just couldn't get it out. I was singing it. I just created this hook and this melody line and this chorus. And it just I couldn't stop singing it like it was like a song on the radio. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, I need to write this song. Like, I just need to write it. And I was singing it around some of my team and they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's just a song that I want to write. I was just humming it and just kind of jamming to my own thing. And,
my own world.
And yeah, I'm in my own world all the time. People would just be like, yo, and they'll kind of snap and I'm like, oh, sorry. But I was just jamming and it literally was them. And they were like, people around me were like, yo, you need to write that. I'm like, I know, but I'm like, I don't want to tackle this alone.
Right.
I really want to get a bunch of brains on this. So it actually was a 4-way write with Sam James and Rob Grimaldi, myself, and then Steve Virginia. And we just, it was one of those things. It was stream of consciousness. And I think the best stuff comes when you're just having fun and you're not putting like a ton of pressure on yourself, but like you still care. Like you have to care. Like you can't just be like, not giving a shit and just like expecting, something great to happen. So like, it's always, again, that balance. I think life is all about that in every single way, being able to be like, not putting too much pressure on yourself, but caring enough to want to release something great. And my part was like, I don't want to write it alone. Like I really want to put some great minds on this and get and have some ping pong of thoughts back and forth, so we can have some just, I don't know, just some different points of view. And it just came out exactly how I wanted. Like everybody was so interactive that day. There's so many laughs. Like we all, it was like us just chilling and eating food. And it was like one of the most chill rides I've ever had, and ended up coming out with what is now my favorite release. Like this is anything that I've ever wanted to push myself as an artist. I feel like my team and I have finally brought me to the point where we're exactly who we've been trying to create. That image of this, I guess a good explanation of it was I had a press release that came out that the words became viral as being a modern day Shania Twain with Christina Aguilera vocals. And my team kind of played on that and just basically ran with it. And although like I can kind of see things like that, I'm still me, like I'm still like, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily exactly like anybody else. So it's been like kind of using that imagery and playing off those words, because it is very accurate, but also still maintaining being, the artist that I am, and making sure that I'm me and I am different. I am my own entity. And I feel like we finally, in this song, in my imagery, in my style, everything that I am, like it's all finally coming out and coming together, and the stars are aligning. And that's why your words mean so much, because it has been time and a lot of consistency to get to this point. And, it's funny because when you go back and you look from my very first release, which actually is taken down now, because we're really starting to like full on rebrand everything to being this product that we've been trying to get to now. And my very first release was, completely different than where I'm at. But I had this mindset of being right here. Like I knew I wanted to be here. It's just all about getting with those other like-minded co-creators. Because this is not, I'm telling you right now, anybody who wants to do music, this is not a career like that you can do it on your own. Anybody who says they're doing it on their own, it's a fallacy. Like I'm telling you right now,
they're lying.
Not what it is.
They're lying.
They're straight up lying. Yes. Like that's not how this career works. It takes a freaking tribe. Like it takes a lot of people. Like you have to, it is a co-creation career. That's the way that it is. And it's been years of me getting the right people around me and knowing where I wanted to be, even with my producer and stuff. Like it wasn't until I got with Brad Hill and some of the bigger writers out here that I've been wanting to write with, wasn't until I got with every single one of them to where the stars aligned, and I finally feel like I'm putting out a song that is 100% everything I ever wanted. And that's why I mean so much. That's why I mean so much, because this is the first release, the very first release I've ever felt that way. And to know that is reflecting through this song means more than it means more than anything that's ever going to come from this song. So
here's my my final take on Jesslee, because I like I said, it feels like I've spent a lot of time with you in the last 2 weeks, completely unbeknownst to you, but I have been.
Yeah.
You have country in your soul, you have country and pop in your heart, but girl, you got rock and roll in your guts. It's just, man, you're like this perfect combination of all these elements. And I think the great thing about music, and your music in particular, is that it doesn't have to be pigeonholed into one thing, because I think you have all the elements of stars in country, in pop, in rock. I think there's just across the board. And this song, I think, really does a fabulous job of portraying all of those elements and all your talents. And so I'm so happy for you and so happy for March 27th when the single hits, because like I said, it's going to take me like 6 months to get you back on a podcast after the song hits, because you're going to be like, I'm sorry, I'm in Mulan. I'm doing a show for the Prince and they're carrying me in on some fucking chair or something.
Not for you, Coop.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in keeping the ones close that brought you to the dance. So
Well,
I always appreciate the people that are early in with me, and these times are so tender because it's so funny. I'm like above the below, but below the upper. I'm right there at that quote unquote breaking the glass ceiling point, and
Right.
I've felt it in a couple moments, and then I've also felt, it's like the one step forward, 2 steps back, and then vice versa sometimes, and that's this career.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in being with the people that are so supportive during these times, because those are usually the people that are in it for the right reasons. And I know that sounds weird, but it's the truth. Like I have so many friends that, I've used their careers and people that have been in their life as example.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so important to make those valuable relationships early on, because, a lot of the times you start attracting people that are just in it for the ride, and they only want to be there for the top of the wave, and for me, it's so important to get those people around you that are supportive from the get-go, and even in those kind of neutral points. And I think that it's interesting because I feel trajectory and I feel like a constant momentum, and I've said, I feel like every single year there's been substantial growth. But I always appreciate everybody who is a part of that, because I know where I want to go, and I feel like I haven't quite reached that yet. And for everybody who's here for that ride, that's super important to me. So I really appreciate you, and I appreciate this time, and you taking the time to get to know me even before talking to me, and and being so prepared and offering to hold my throne.
I know. There's no end to the things that I would do. I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I got to get shirts. I got to make sure my leather pants still fit. I got to create the new tour, emblem. The Lethal Weapon tour. I mean, I've created my own monster in myself, because I'm like,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. The thing is, I want to make sure that listeners of this podcast know, first and foremost, the single "Do It Like" it drops on March 27th. You can get it, pre-order it right now. I know you guys are doing a bunch of awesome contesting with that. JessleeMusic.com/doitlike. Pre-order it, and then send them a picture of the official confirmation that you pre-ordered it, and you'll be entered to win some awesome stuff. Also, Country Fest is coming up this June. You are going to be there on the 27th.
Yes.
Kane Brown and John Party and Runaway June and Jesslee and me in leather pants. I don't know what more could sell tickets than that right there. And by the way, there's 2.5 more days.
I was just going to say that.
Before
if people
that,
don't want to just come to see you rocking leather pants, then they're idiots.
Woman, we are trying to sell tickets here. We're trying to sell them, not have them call up.
Sell. I'd come. Yeah. I would come. I would literally be like, "Hey, what's up? These scoops and leather pants."
Great. Now I got to start doing 2-a-days again. Oh wait, that's neither here nor there. Countryfest.com.
No days off is enough. I promise, Scoop. You got this. You're killing it.
I know you hate me for it, but I don't take days off. Countryfest.com is the website. Tickets are on sale right now. Get your camping all set so you can be part of the entire 3.5-day experience. VIP reserved, GA tickets. So much going on. And prepare accordingly. Jesslee, I'll put all of your links to all of your socials and your website in the show notes of this podcast, and people can follow you and get that pre-order in. And in literally 3.5 months, you and I are going to be twinsies in Cadott, Wisconsin.
Wait.
I know.
Man, it's going to be so much fun.
That is the word I was looking for, is fun. It is going to be fun. And there's going to be cameras around, and I have to start doing more squats. And I'm feeling like I got to really rock those pants.
You got to work. Make sure you work on some of those IG poses,
Yeah. I'll Google it. I'll get on the Google machine and I'll start eating more protein and less cardio down, lift up. Okay, I got my whole plan set out for the next 3 months.
Oh my God, Cooper, you're gonna look better than me in these photos. So people are gonna be like, they're not even gonna care. They're gonna be like, yo, who's the guy? Who's the guy? Like, I'm gonna post a photo and they're not even gonna care about me. They're like, who's that?
let me correct you right now. No, they won't. And we'll end with that. Jesslee, you are amazing, an amazing human being, an amazing artist, and I'm so thankful that we got this time to connect. I'm thankful that you are safe and that your city is rebuilding, and I literally I'm beyond excited, beyond words excited to see you in a couple months. Makes my heart happy.
Oh my God, I can't wait either. Thank you so much, Coop. I had a blast with you. Thank you for having me, and I'm seriously looking forward to segment 2. I know there's going to be even more to talk about. So I can't wait to see you at Country Fest, and I look forward to our next chat. It's been an absolute blast.
Jesslee, just amazing. Thank you so much for the conversation today. It was incredible. And I can't wait to do another one. Like her and I think could probably have like a 6-hour podcast and just talk about everything. Cover it all. Can't wait for that to happen. Jesslee, JessleeMusic.com is the website, JessleeMusic.com/doitlike to pre-order her new single, which comes out on the 27th. If you're listening to this after this, just go and download the single because it's fantastic. And she's going to be at Country Fest coming up this June. CountryFest.com for your tickets, VIPs, your camping, reserve lawn, pit passes, all of it. Plan your life accordingly for Country Fest in Cadott, Wisconsin. I thank you personally for listening to the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. Always great to have new people join on in. Make sure whichever platform you're listening on, whichever app you have pulled up listening to this podcast, that you subscribe. So when we have new episodes or when Jesslee comes back on, you'll get notified. You'll get a little notification that says, boom, new episode, and then you can go listen at your leisure. We, of course, are on social media. Welcome to Cooperville Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Insta. I think we're on TikTok, too. No Limit Cooper on TikTok and on Instagram as well. So follow the show, follow me, and we'll take this journey through life together. Until then, peace!